Welcome back to Through It All. Today we are doing an in-person interview because my friend KG, or Kyler Gunnell, here has microphones. So that's super nice for me. I've known Kyler Gunnell for a couple of years now, and we've had some super deep, great conversations over the years. And I think he has such a powerful story. He recently graduated from Utah State University about a year ago, and now he's a filmmaker, and he works at Danique Notebooks, and he's their content manager. He's also just a lover of being outside, anything adrenaline, biking, skiing, all of that. And I don't know, he's just a dope dude. So thanks for being here, dude.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Yeah, this is awesome.
Well, I'm just gonna let you go right into what you want to talk about today. And
Okay. Oh, man. Well, I guess how far back do you want me to go? Because we can go back. Like, we could go to pre-existence. Whatever you want.
I think wherever you feel is like the most appropriate place to start
Okay.
to where you want to finish.
Yeah. Okay, so pre-existence. Pretty cool. I feel like I was telling Maddie, and you're going to hear about Maddie a lot, I bet. But Maddie's my fiance.
Recent fiance.
We've been engaged for a week. It's crazy. But I was telling her last night, I feel like I was prepared to come to Earth in like the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't know what it is. I just feel like I'm pretty traditional. I'm not like hardcore traditionalist, but just like I feel anytime not that I want to be in war or anything, just like that time period. I don't know what it is. It's just simple.
It's simpler for sure.
Yeah. Like the American dream was like starting to become more, I don't know, actualized. People were living that white picket fence. And it's not that, again, not that I like want that, but just, it's just simple, and our world right now is just very chaotic and
Very
crazy.
complicated and confusing.
Yeah. But I was born in South Carolina, and we moved to Virginia when I was like 1. Then we moved from Virginia to Las Vegas when I was 6. Lived in Vegas for 2 years and then moved to Utah. Served a mission. They actually sent me back to Charlotte, North Carolina, to fill the gap between where I grew up. And awesome mission presidents, great experience. I'd say it was
because you were born into the church of Jesus
I
Christ?
was. Yeah, I was. Yeah,
So
I was
lifelong
born
member.
lifelong, which is extremely lucky. Very fortunate to have had that. And I have, oh gosh, what was I going to say? I think my mission kind of started to help me realize a lot about who I was. Because everything leading up to my mission, I just didn't really have a sense of identity, sense of self, and my mission president, I had 2 mission presidents. One of them, the first one was, he just could see right into my soul, and like, he put me into leadership at a very like early on in my mission.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt extremely inadequate, and the typical like, feeling like you're in the wrong place. And I was with a bunch of older missionaries, like everybody else that was in leadership at the time they had been out like a year or more. And I felt so inadequate. But it was that was kind of like a tipping point of like, wait a minute, I feel like I might actually have some kind of strengths, which is crazy to say, but that was the honest truth, was just I didn't really have a sense of identity or who I was. And it wasn't a good or bad thing. I think later on I realized that there might have been some pre-existing more negative things.
Like a deep-seated belief or something.
Yeah. But there was no like, I am Kyler Gunnell and I have these strengths. And that was like huge turning point.
So you learned that on the mission.
Yeah. But it came through just like the trial by fire, like throw me into the ring because somebody meaning my mission president, just like could see it. He's like, you're so talented. And like, you've got all these like strengths. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, no one's ever said that about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like pretty shy in high school. And I wasn't like the popular kid or anything. And I would hang out with a lot of misfits, just like, and I say misfits for lack of a better term, really, but just like, we were just a bunch of skater, snowboard dudes that just,
Mm-hmm.
people would think we were also druggies, just because we were in that scene, and but we just loved being ourselves, and that they kind of like took me in. I still didn't really have a sense of self, but like I knew they could help me kind of just feel comfortable with myself, even though I didn't know who I was.
So do you feel like the mission was then able to, because it seems like you were, like you said, you were comfortable being Tyler Gunnell. You were comfortable with like how people perceived you, just were you. Did the mission fill in the gaps of how God saw you?
Yeah, I think that was a long time coming, but I think what the challenge was with like understanding how God saw me was, I'm very much like one of my spiritual gifts or talents, if you want to call it a talent, is just I have a radar. Like, I'm extremely sensitive to how other people feel, even if they don't tell me. Like, kind of just
It's empathetic.
yeah, to a fault
Mm-hmm.
at times, but it's my superpower,
Yeah.
and I want to, and I've like, that's come with time, like, that perspective. But like, so for a long time, like being in a companionship, that was probably the hardest part of my mission. There was no companions I hated. It was just hard because I was constantly worried about my worthiness, if I was like worthy enough to
Measuring up.
Yeah, measuring up. And we've talked about stuff like that
Yeah.
before, right? And just never feeling like I was doing enough. And even in interviews with my mission president, he would just look at me and smile and just be, he told me this a number of times, just, Elder Gunnell, and just relax and enjoy your mission. And it would make me so frustrated. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, you're of no nuisance to me. You're doing everything right. But I couldn't feel that in myself, because I think for a long time, because of that radar, I took how other people were feeling in the moment, determined how I should feel.
Mm.
But so there was never, like, I guess you could call it a fence around.
No boundaries.
Yeah, with myself. So that sense of identity, just kind of delusion of just like, I don't know who I am, and I didn't know that I didn't know who I was. If that makes any sense. The concept that I could be somebody.
You were so outward focused that there was no inward work going on.
No.
So
Yeah.
like that, the fact that empathy is a good thing almost became not good because you were losing who you were.
Yeah.
Through it. So obviously I know you now,
Mm-hmm.
but back then, I think anxiety is a big part of your story, not who you are, but what shaped you. Do you feel that you knew that going into the mission, or did you kind of discover that on the mission?
It was definitely like a discovery on the mission. Like, I don't think I ever had any like anxious episodes before. I mean, if I did, I didn't recognize them as such. I just remember.
It just wasn't prevalent or a big deal.
Yeah. Because like, it was more just kind of survival versus like thriving, and anxiety. Just, again, it was just like, I didn't know what I didn't know. So if I was feeling, I didn't know I was feeling it,
So did that come pretty quick into your mission?
Yeah.
Like, as you're discovering yourself and being put into leadership stuff, did that evoke more anxiety and this feeling of not measuring up, of not being good enough, of not feeling like you could do it? Is that like, what were the feelings exactly?
Yeah, it was like everything you said. It was like the 6-month mark. Like for my first area, I was there for 6 months, 4 transfers. Awesome. Like, we had lots of success. And then got the call, I'm going to go be a zone leader in Greensboro. And I was like, holy crap. And that was kind of like, I started to get really anxious, starting then, like even more so.
Because you're going to be over other missionaries and.
Yeah. There's this pressure of like, but it was pressure because I valued I took my self-worth, and this is something I've talked to Maddie about, my fiance, just like things that are very second nature to her are not that way for me. Like
you have to work harder, or
yeah, like
or
self-worth.
learn to let go of
Yeah,
negative belief systems.
exactly. Yeah. And there's nothing bad about that. Anybody listening to this, I want everybody to know that I think it'll be to your detriment if there is a right and wrong, there's good, better, best.
Mm-hmm.
But in addressing like deep emotions, especially like anxiety or whatever you're dealing with, like it was extremely important for me to realize that where I want to be and where I am now, like where I want to be does not demonize where I am now. Like I can't ostracize myself because that's me. And so like from that time that was kind of the start of like, it was self-discovery of who I was and all these like strengths about me, but then also working through any anxiety I was kind of like discovering who I was, and who I was had a lot of anxiety.
So by the end of your mission, where did that anxiety sit? Like, did it progressively grow worse? Was it kind of up and down on the mission?
Yeah.
Did you find, I'm sure like most missionaries, you find periods of success, periods of really hard things, like after the 2 years, where were you sitting with your anxiety and your identity?
I'll back up to like the year mark. So I was a zone leader for 6 months. So like 6 months first area, 6 months zone leader area. And then I got transferred to be a district leader with, in another area. And I was
a
there
lot of leadership.
Yeah. I was there for another 6 months. And my first companion, I won't say his name. And like, even if he does listen to this, I think I've talked to him about this a lot, just how, and like his background, like he had come from a much worse situation than me and had been less active for a period of his life and came back and decided to go on a mission. But he was so grounded in what he believed. It was like everything he did had intention. And I wanted that so bad. But like, and so he would ask me these questions that kind of just picked apart what I thought I had, like as a testimony. And it just obliterated me. Like I didn't have a sense of like, I didn't feel like I had a testimony anymore. Cause I felt like I kind of realized that I'd been placing all my value on what other people thought of me.
Instead of what God thought of you.
Yeah.
So was it almost like, were you comparing yourself against him and realizing what he had made you feel inadequate?
Yeah. And for lack of a better term, I'll just say yes. And it was that way because, I knew there was something in the back of my mind that wanted authenticity and like to really believe in something. And like, up until that point, it didn't feel like I was fake. It just felt like there was more, and this companion like found that, like he gave it to me. And so I had to stare into the black of like nothingness. I call it nothingness just because it just felt like I was stripped of what I had. And it was kind of like a blanket and I was cold in the dark. And I really had to like dig my heels in to rediscover and find out for myself. But
like who God is.
Yeah, who God is for me.
And what that means about yourself.
Yes. So that last year of my mission was really hard. Like,
because you so badly wanted a relationship with God and you so badly wanted an identity in God. And I guess the struggle or the pain of getting there was so uncomfortable and new to you. Is that what was uncomfortable about it?
Yeah. And it was like, I think back, and I've said this a lot to people, like if I had been home, like not on the mission and had that happen, I probably would have gone less active because it
was uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable and I didn't know how to navigate that. And I felt like I was a liar, so on top of not knowing, I had the pressure of being a missionary and this like already kind of toxic self-comparison and high expectation for myself. On top of that, like now I have like, I don't know if I know this is true or not.
Well, I do think I think a good quote, there's a quote by Elder Holland. I do not know the talk. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
But he said, Christianity should be comforting, but not comfortable. And I don't think that's I think a lot of people view Christianity or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as this, oh, like I'm living, like it's the church of joy. And I truly think that is, but I don't think that means that all parts of it or the discovery to find God is always this super easy, super comfortable thing. It's this, you're wrestling with who you are, who you think you are. You're wrestling with what the world's telling you to be. Like you're wrestling with all these different parts to find God, who's ultimately always there. But it's not always this straight, easy path. It kind of winds and goes up hills. And it's a process of becoming. That's what life is about. And I think part of that is learning, or I would say relearning what we already know from, like, our spirit selves know. But I think it takes, once we pass through the veil, it takes a lot of work to get back to the knowledge of God.
Yeah.
And breaking down, I think, like you said, like you have this identity of yourself, but what is that rooted in? Is it rooted in Christ and the gospel, or is it rooted in what you think it's supposed to be? But then the process of looking is just so, like you said, you have to go into this darkness, or this step out in faith is what essentially what you were doing. Yeah. Because you didn't give up, which I think is very admirable, because a lot of people do that because it's uncomfortable. Yeah. But you stepped out trusting God would catch you. But it was painful. Yeah.
And that's, I think you brought up a good point, is just that people kind of shake their heads and like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm not happy. I had these spiritual experiences. I had this deep testimony, and
I'm going to church. I'm reading scriptures. I'm going to the temple. I'm on a mission.
And it's still hard. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? There's nothing wrong. Like, the fact that it's a struggle is a gift. You know,
what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, you think about all the many blessings in your life. It could be something just as tangible as, like, I have clothes on my body, or the sun is shining. I'm drawing breath, you know? But if you go with that same thought process, gratitude, like if there's an intention behind, we're grateful for things because they bless our lives. If God has a perfect plan for us, and there's all these wonderful things in our lives, there's also bad things in our lives that we consider bad or hurtful or negative that are going to bless our lives. And it's just like the age old analogy is like weightlifting, right? And we go to the gym to experience pain willingly.
Yeah, no one's forcing you.
No one's forcing you. Do you bag on the pain that you feel for going to the gym and like never want to go back?
Because you're going to grow.
Because you're going to grow.
Your muscle.
Yeah, you know you're going to grow. And like lifting a weight is like an actual physical manifestation of your weakness. Yeah. And your weakness is like the only way that you're going to get stronger. So that's the blessing, right?
But it's in the moment, it's difficult to view it as that.
Yeah.
When you're in the actual gym and you're lifting a weight, not that I know anything about that, but you're like, it hurts. Like I've lifted weights before, and it's like, why am I doing this? Like, this is actually hurting my body. You're not like, I'm so glad I did that. And then after you're like exhausted, like that was not a fun use of my time. But then you got to go, if you want to do it, you got to go back again the next day. Yeah. And the next day. Yeah. And the next day. And I think for a lot of people, especially with the gospel, that's daunting. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is like a wake up every day kind of thing. It's not a, oh, I've got my testimony, I'm good. Yeah. No, it's, you got your testimony. When something hard comes into your life, how do you apply that testimony now? Right. How does now this trial help build that testimony? Because it's not a one and done. It's a lifetime of becoming. Where Elder Holland calls us gods in embryo, which I really like that terminology, because we're here to become like God. And in order to do that, we have to experience things that try us and stretch us and pull us in every regard. Yeah. And then you it's all, and then you use those experiences to align your will with God's. Like that's the ultimate use. So, I mean, that's just hard. Like that's hard. Like the gospel's hard.
It is, yeah.
And choosing to go on a mission is hard. And so when you that's you had a lot of leadership positions, all of these things. Where was your testimony at after the 2 years?
I believed, like up to my last transfer, like right before my last transfer started, it's 6 weeks left. And I believed that I was going home worse than I was when I got
Mm.
to the mission.
Like less faithful or
All of it. Like I
broken?
was broken. I was unhappy. I was frustrated. The companion I had before, like we're best friends, but he would just try to like make me happy. And I was not about it. And,
So were you depressed?
I was
Do you feel like?
I was overwhelmed and high anxiety, stressed, and just, I think, frustrated.
So you get home after what's supposed to, I guess, supposed is not the right word. We assume missions are this joyous 2 years of happiness,
Yeah.
right? I don't think that's ever the case.
Yeah.
And I think a mission is just a short version of like life. Like
Yeah.
if you think that life is just supposed to be happy all the time, it's not.
Mhm.
Because you need the opposites to bring out that joy. You need to experience the pain to feel the joy.
Yeah.
You need to lift the weight to get stronger.
Right.
So did you come home and was it like, were you shell shocked? Like, you're now home in a new state,
Yeah.
like of being,
Uh-huh.
you're searching for God. Like where was your worth at?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So the last 6 weeks, that was like God's time. Like that was his miracle mile, I guess. Like that was his time to just tie up my mission in a pretty bow, because I got put with a companion I'd been with before. And that companion, like he and I were like really good friends. And he wasn't exactly as obedient as me or as I wanted to be. But he came to be companions with me as a zone leader. So he had kind of this really neat, like, kind of come to Jesus time, and he changed my life, man. Those last 6 weeks, I mean, we were like working out super hard, which was super nice, but, and we were working hard missionary work wise, and we just hit the ground running, and like we knew each other so we could just get to work, and miracles happened. Like this rain is a miracle.
It's a miracle right now in Utah.
Yeah, it is. We need this rain.
Do you think that's going to be bad?
No, I think it'll be okay.
Okay.
You might get it a little bit, but
That's okay.
it's just nice ambience. And one day at the beginning of that transfer, we were having companion study like this, sitting across from each other, and I was just griping, like, kind of woe is me a little bit, and my companion was just like, Elder Gunnell, you don't have to suffer. And I was like, for some reason, that clicked. And I was like, I don't have to suffer because somebody else has suffered, if that makes sense. And it was going back to that idea of, I have been putting other people's emotions upon me to determine how I'm supposed to feel. And it just changed everything, dude. And it just was like, I have enough about myself and enough about life that God has given me. I have all these spiritual experiences, just like everything fell in place in that moment. And it wasn't like everything was peaches and cream after that.
Yeah,
I've had to deal with a lot of that post mission too. But that was it. It was just like, you're right. I don't have to suffer. And then it came like what started was, and what I can kind of consider now is like, I started dating myself. I started like loving myself, and it just, in a real authentic way.
And that happened, you said, in the last transfer?
6 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
And I went home happier than I was when I came out. It was just like, it wasn't like happy in like the most thrilling way possible. It was joy. 100%. It was fulfillment.
It was God-given.
Oh, totally. And I think that's kind of like what I've like gravitated towards in the gospel now, is like, I'm looking for God to line up make it all make sense, even though it's hard. And in the moments, like you said, you're not thinking, I'm so glad I did this. You're like, this sucks. But it's like, I hold on to the moment because I know it's not over, and this is a blessing, and I'm going to learn why it is. And God pulled through.
You're going to learn why the trial, the struggle is a blessing.
Yeah.
So is that just all about focus?
Focus.
Perspective?
I've been talking to Maddie's brother about this recently, about like remembrance.
Mm.
And the reason why we study the scriptures so frequently, and the reason why, excuse me, we go to church. It's like the gospel's emotional, but it's also not, you know, we base a lot of kind of like where we want to go with the gospel based on emotions. Like our forward thinking mentality of like moving on with faith comes with like some emotion, but it's also just how people say they know things. I think people would be better if they said, you know, if they're bearing their testimony, I know that when I do X, Y, and Z, these things happen. So like if I say, I know the church is true, I feel like I would be better off saying, I know that when I read the Book of Mormon and I pray about it, my life is better. And therefore I know the church is true.
Mm.
Because I think knowledge
Because
is a
you're
big
putting
pressure.
agency and action into it.
Yeah.
It's not just a statement.
Yeah.
Like, not that there's anything wrong with saying that you know the church is true. If you've gotten there, like that's a beautiful testimony, but you're saying like, this is work. Like I'm going to put the work in, and it's not just I know the church is true, done.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to choose to believe that the church is true every day and know that it's true every day by the work I'm putting in.
Yes. And with like what you asked about focus, like if it's just focus, I think the best way I can relate it to a real life scenario is love, like a relationship with somebody, your family. And you might have, I mean, anybody listening might have broken families or broken relationships with people, but the relationships you have a strong connection with is your focus. You could call it a focus, or your commitment to being with them. And the gospel is the same. You know, and if you love somebody, you know that focus is going to require effort on your end. And relationships are like going to the gym too. They are like building a testimony. It's work. And if you can lift through the hard things, holy crap. And this is something that I've learned with Maddie is like, I've had lots to work through with, like in my own sense of like trauma I have to work through or anxieties I have to work through. But the fulfillment, and it's just like why people come to the church and stay in the church, is because they know that God can't lie. They know that God always follows through. And it might not be the case with our imperfect relationships with people, but we hold, like, that's where kind of we can allow God and his mercy to kind of step in there and help us realize that we're all human. We all make mistakes. Let's work on changing. And if we're focused on working through things that are hard, just like we are working through things that are hard in our lives with God, you know, our relationships get so much better. It comes through like talking through it with people, and then the parallel of that is talking with God through things. You know, a lot of this is learned like post-mission. I've been home for like 7 years now. So in that 7 years, there's been a lot of like, you know, identifying those things and like.
Well, and there's going to be more.
Oh,
the
totally.
Next 7 years, the next 20 years, there's going to be, it's a continual, you know, like your trials will go up and then they'll go down. And it's like, are you going to continue to try to put the work in, which is going to look different every day, obviously. Like,
might be a brick wall that you have to climb that or plow through it, you know, or find a way around it. Yeah.
So I think one of the unique things about your story that we've talked about a lot is relationships, which I love that you brought up. And you've now been engaged for like what, less than a week now?
Less than a week.
Yeah. Which
been
is
dating for about a year.
Super exciting, super happy. Like, but I think for you, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Perhaps more than other people. Not to take away from anyone else's marriage or engagement, but like based on the anxiety and the situations you've been through. I don't know if you want to talk about that, like the relationships, the anxiety you've had within relationships and how that led you to Maddie. Who is now the best.
Yeah.
She's the very best.
It is. And I would say it's the best and it's right. And it feels like more right than anything, but it's not like an excess of happiness, you know, it's fulfillment for sure.
But you still have to.
Okay. Well, you still have to what? Like,
you still have to put faith into a relationship. You still have to put work, like you said. Like like we're gonna keep using the gym, I guess, but
Yeah.
you go to the gym and you're lifting that weight, you still have to believe that it's doing something because you're not gonna see it
Yeah.
right then.
Mhm.
It's a period of work plus time plus commitment that leads to that.
Yeah.
So like you get home from your mission and you're dating, you want to get married, all these things. Like what happens with all of that and your anxiety?
Yeah. I dated somebody in high school. And I was thinking about this today, like that, had I just kept dating her after my mission, like she went on a mission too. And we, agreed like, if we're both around when I
Let's
get
see where
home,
it goes.
we'll see where it goes. But we went on 3 dates and we just felt like we wanted to date other people. It's awesome. Like she got married and had a kid and like she's off doing her thing and it's awesome. Like
Yeah.
it could have been a better sort of mutual understanding. None of us were hurt really. We're just like, yeah, that makes sense. Like totally. And the reason why I was thinking about it today is that like after all the things I've been through and now I'm with Maddie, like I have like collected a lot of trauma, like a lot of like relational things that I've been hurt by, I've learned from and maybe not learned from yet. And like, had I missed out on that, I would have had to like, I mean, obviously I probably would have learned the lessons with whoever that girl I dated in high school, but, gosh, like I'm hungry. I wouldn't say I'm enjoying going into the hardships, but I'm hungry to like pursue and destroy my like whatever has happened to me and understand what's happened to me. And when I say destroy, I just mean like understand and change perspectives.
Let go of things.
Yeah.
And move forward with the faith that you have in God.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard and
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like an intentional releasing
Yeah.
of your past self.
Yeah. And that can be hard, but
that's obviously easier said with
of
words
course,
than
yeah,
done. The whole process
course.
of it is very uncomfortable, but
yeah. Like I dated a lot of people. I've dated and like pick a circumstance and like I've probably been in something similar to that. Like I've dated a lot of, especially within the church, I should say, like dated girls that wanted to go on missions and got my heart broken because they left. And like, we tried to figure it out and it didn't work. I've been through that a lot. I've dated girls that were like leaving the church a few times. And I've dated girls that probably could have worked out, but it just ended up not working because it was either I wasn't in it or she wasn't in it. And I've dated girls that, just wanted to use me, and like, and I've just kind of been around the block, I guess, and just dated my face off and,
in pursuit of marriage, right?
Yeah, always.
Like you wanted those covenants in the temple. You wanted, like, there was always a goal in mind, but there was a lot of trauma and hardship along the way.
Yeah. And
a rocky road to the temple.
Totally. Yeah. But it's like, gosh, like how satisfying is it going to be and fulfilling? I should say satisfying, because satisfaction, I think, is more like temporal, but fulfillment is like longer lasting. It's like wisdom, How much fulfillment will I get knowing that I've like trudged through the mud to get to the temple with someone I love and can go through life with, than to just like throw in the towel. Because I mean, like,
did you want to do that over the years?
Yeah. And even like dating Maddie, like there were times that I felt like, I don't know if I can do this, that the anxiety and like the pressure, like all these things, this mix of things.
Yeah. What was, if I may ask, what's the anxiety that you would feel in a relationship?
And talking to Maddie about this, she would take it really personally because, it's like an attack on her, like she's doing something wrong. And the reality is it's just things I need to work through on my own. Let her know, like, hey, I'm feeling anxiety, but I'm working through these things. And those things were things that I'd kind of picked up through like childhood and most specifically like dating.
Well, obviously it's not every person you dated, I'm sure, was different and you had different levels of compatibility with people. But you're saying like it was never really, any relationship that ended was never really their fault. It was, I need to work through these things because they're making me feel uncomfortable, or these things, and it's not you, but it's me. But it feels like
Yeah.
they would feel like you were attacking them or
Mhm.
in some way, but you're just saying no. Like I'm hurting inside and I'm trying to figure out what that is,
Yeah.
and I'm scared.
Yeah. A lot of just fear. Yeah. Fear of getting hurt. And I think that's where anxiety is, a lot of anxiety is rooted in, is like unresolved hurt,
And the fear of future hurt.
Yes. Fear of future hurt. And you could be dating, like I could be dating Maddie, who's like perfect for me, and like still feel like I'm in danger. And it's like, what the freak?
Like,
You know?
and it's all your brain. Just
Yeah.
And I think the adversary also works on that too.
Totally.
I don't
Yeah.
think he creates that, but when you're in a state of fear and stuff, he's more able to, I guess, push you in a negative direction
Mm-hmm.
and try to knock you off the path.
Yeah.
I think that's what he does.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different trial, right?
Yeah.
And yours happen to be anxiety.
Yeah.
And so he's just trying to knock you off,
Mm-hmm.
getting to the temple, looking at Christ. Like,
Yes. Yeah. I'll tell you this story, because this story, I think, kind of was a huge pivotal moment. And this happened before I met Maddie, like a few months before. And it was after I'd gotten out of a relationship. And I felt so distant from God and from Christ. And like for a long time, I had felt like I didn't have a good relationship with Christ. It was God. Like I had a good relationship with God, but Christ, like if Christ is the focus, why don't I ever have like these incredible moments of healing with Christ? And why is he not my focus? And it wasn't until like this point after a relationship, I was just praying and praying, like on behalf of somebody else, like after this relationship, just praying for this other person. And
you've gotten out of a relationship with?
Yeah. The girl
You'd broken up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's just kind of like, I had been avoiding a lot of emotions just because like they suck. Breakups
They're uncomfortable.
Suck. Yeah. And like, I don't want to, I've been through breakups and they suck, but it was like a moment where I was just facing it all, and in that, it was just, I prayed for like 2 hours. I kid you not. Like, you pray, sometimes you fall asleep. I was like awake for 2 hours, just
talking to God.
Yeah. And a lot of it was the same thing repeated, and I have this wallpaper. I'll actually show you. It's my favorite. Let me clear my notifications. It's my favorite painting of Christ. And there's this man down here, and he's like holding the cloth of the Savior. And in that moment, I like praying, I felt like I was him. Like I was this man, like holding this cloth.
Reaching out.
Yeah. And it was like a moment of like, Christ is real. And it just hit me to my very core, because I'm pretty realistic. I can be pretty secular too, and I can like piece things apart, and like I want to experience something. If I have a spiritual experience, I want it to be backed up by like life experience too. There's like miracles involved too. I want to like make sure it's real. And that moment for me was like, I just believed, and it happened. Like had this experience with the Savior, and it was so real. And it was like I was actually holding on to his like cloak in that painting, and
screaming for help.
And it was like, I don't know if I was screaming, but just like it was pure submission. And I was frail and broken and just like reaching out with nothing. Like I had nothing left in me. And I think that reality of just like, I need Christ to be a reality for me. I need that healing that everybody talks about, that he himself talks about. And up until this point, I have like a deep personal witness of the Book of Mormon in my life. I have a deep testimony of those things. I know they're real, but Christ just hadn't fit in there yet. And that was like, oh my gosh, I get Christ now, and he's real. His power is real. And ever since then, I'm all about involving Christ in the repentance process, and like this idea that Christ helps change the way we see ourselves and helps us build a relationship with ourselves. And when I say that, there's like the natural man, which is an enemy to God, and there's like our spiritual selves that are like our spirits are trying to get back to heaven. And we're trying to build a relationship with each other, help natural man not take over the spirit, but the natural man,
You live in the world.
we live in the world.
We live in a fallen state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the more like those can come together, that's like deep conversion, you know? That's
Instead
where,
of fighting.
Yeah, instead of fighting. And I think anxiety is with that. You know, natural man is anxiety. Natural man is depression, like a lot of things, a lot of mental issues.
Because did you feel like your spiritual self knew? It knew. And then you have this anxiety, and it's just like this wrestle. Like you hear the term like a wrestle with God. Did you feel like that's what was happening?
Yeah.
Like it was like I've had these experiences, and I'm having these experiences too, and they're both real to me.
Yeah.
So it's like you're just trying to figure out what that means, and it's this, I don't know, you're in like a headlock.
Yeah.
And then with the natural man, which is an uncomfortable position. So what did praying to God and letting Christ in do to that wrestle?
Again, I think that was like another like connecting the dots moment. Like all these experiences lined up perfectly. So that moment had enough evidence for me to realize that that's real. And that a lot of it was like all this like self-identity things, like who I am as a person, who I am to God. And
slowly building on each other.
Yeah.
And then you can't see until you get to the next step what this step was. And it's always by looking back, right?
Yeah.
Don't stay rooted in the back. Don't keep your feet planted in the past. Like don't stay there. But like looking back, you're like, oh, he was paving a road for me.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of crap to paved over.
Yeah.
But you can't see that when you're just like driving the paving truck, I guess. Like you're going through mountains, you're going through these things, and you're just so focused on getting through the things, or some days you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. But like you look back and you see this path being beautifully paved for you.
And it's like
it looks beautiful in the past, but like in the moment, it's you're going
to drive
through
that
rock.
stupid truck through those potholes and up that hill, and it's just But it was just like a big connecting the dots moment, and realizing that Christ died for me. Like imagine like if you were sitting or I was sitting across from Christ, like if you were Christ and in this example, like, and to have Christ tell me like, I died for you. And
like, I know what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Right now.
You see that hill over there? I climbed that hill. You remember climbing that, right? So do I. You know?
I was there with
I
you.
was there. Yeah. And it's just like, if you put Christ in those life situations where Christ, if you can say there's somebody that would volunteer to go through exactly what I went through, you know, just making these things a little bit more realistic. And I had to do that for myself. Just real life examples, frame Christ in a way that I could get it. Because for a long time, I just didn't. And that changed my
that
testimony.
night.
Yeah, that night was like a huge pivotal moment, and very like, and I feel really good to share it because I think a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people even recently who just say that, you know, they have a better relationship with God and not necessarily Christ. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think the hunger, the fact that you can be aware that you're working on a relationship with Christ is the first step. And if it's like the desire to desire, right? If you don't have the desire to do all these things because you don't know how to do that, you can desire to have that, you know? And
well, doesn't Alma say if you have just the desire to even believe?
Yes.
Not even if you believe it, if you have the desire, and you're saying if you have the desire to believe, that's also powerful.
Literally, like you make, if there's no path to connect you to something, make the path, you know? And if it's not like the way that everybody else does, like, I can't speak for what that looks like for everybody, but for me, that I've had to make that a reality in a lot of circumstances in my life. I didn't have a lot of opportunities to do what I do now growing up. And like my parents didn't really think that, and we're like really on good terms about this. I don't want to trash my parents, but just like they didn't think it would be a safe career. And I believed them, just
To do
like
film.
to do film. And so I'd be up super late, like editing videos on my computer, and like they would just yell at me to go to bed. And like, I loved it, but, and so there was no path, but I made a path. I didn't go to school for film. I didn't go to school for marketing. It just became a hobby turned into career and side business. Like, and that's that, I think mentality, I don't know where it comes from. Like, there's like a light in me, and I have to speak for myself in this because there's been, especially dating Maddie. I know like we dance around like me talking about Maddie, but like I've realized more and more dating Maddie that like I want to push through and make a path to somewhere I want to be, because the path to get to there, or any path to get to there, isn't going to fit my mold, who I am and how I'm going to get there. So going to make a path.
Well, it's also, I think, too, something that I think we all wrestle with, that I wrestle with and struggle with on a daily basis, is like the easy, like if there's already, I'm sure you look over and you're like, oh, that road's paved. It looks really easy.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hop over onto that road, but then you're not gaining experience.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like when we build that relationship with Christ and we go forward with him and we're paving with him, and he's like, that part you didn't want to do, like I carried you through that part.
Yeah.
Because because you're in relationship with him. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like you said, there's work involved in getting a relationship with Christ. There's work involved in achieving your dreams of becoming a filmmaker or
Mm-hmm.
getting married in the temple. Like all of those things are good, but I don't think we can ever reach anything without experiencing the hard. Because then the joy that you feel when you get those things
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be joy.
Yeah.
It would just, like if you just got everything you wanted with no resistance, I mean, there'd be no point to it. And that's why we're on the earth.
Yeah.
And like I wrestle with God all the time. I'm like, I don't understand why this is so hard. I don't understand why every day feels so hard, why I feel so alone, so lost. Like I already, like you look back at the road you paved and you're like, we already went over like 20 mountains.
Yeah.
I swear in the last year, like, and I'm looking ahead and all I see is 20 more.
Yeah.
But you also see the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that going towards the light, going towards Christ, going towards God is where you need to go. And so you keep going on.
Yeah.
But it's work. And I think what you're saying, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that you've realized how it's not just one-sided, how you've had to put in the work and you've had to want the relationship with Christ. And it's not just going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not that he's, I think I've talked about this before, but there's that picture of Jesus in our church, in our faith, at the door.
Yeah.
And there's no handle on it.
Yeah.
It's because we have to let him in.
Yeah.
It's not that he's waiting. He's like, whenever you're ready, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you got to let him in. You got to be like, I'm okay. I don't want to climb this mountain, but let's do it today.
Yeah.
Like, let's actually do it. I trust you.
Yeah.
So with Maddie, and now you're close to the temple. Like you're close. And obviously, like, I think people think you're engaged. You're like, that's it. It's like, no. And then you're married. That's it. Like, there's still going to be work involved.
Yeah.
But what changed about your anxiety with Maddie? Like, where you ultimately wanted to be like, I want to marry her.
I don't think, here's like the kicker is, and here's like the secret is that the anxiety has not gone away. And I think I was looking for somebody the whole time till I didn't have the anxiety. And I think
just perfect.
Yeah, perfect. And, I think like I wanted it to be devoid of fear and like a fear of getting hurt. And I've been hurt plenty of times in dating, and like, even in relationship with Maddie, like we've been through things that hurt each other and conversations and said things, but
while you're putting in the work,
to make it work. And, but
not like you're just being mean.
No,
Remember,
no.
it's just I'm just saying like it's like I think that's every relationship.
Yes.
I think that's even
That's a great, yeah, I'm glad you said that.
like it's this to go back to you're paving the road and
Yeah.
there's like a massive pothole and you're like arguing about it. And
Yeah.
you're like, what do you do with this pothole? And you're like,
Mhm.
I don't want to freaking deal with this pothole
Yeah.
anymore.
It
And
hurts.
yeah,
It sucks. Yeah.
yeah. You pop a tire and you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
I just am done.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, and that's the thing. And you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong.
Mm.
I think that for a long time that was like maybe my prerogative, maybe like the goggles I had on, like, oh, I'm just looking for something easy, you know, I just don't want it to work out. Cause I've bailed on relationships with anxiety that I've had, what am I trying to say? I still had lots of anxiety dating Maddie. But the point was that I wanted to face it with Maddie.
Mm.
And that's like what has made all the difference.
But you think that all the other relationships have prepared you to that
yeah.
point
Yeah.
because you trusted God.
Yeah. I'm still trusting, you know?
Yeah.
And
Oh, for sure.
right now it's really awesome. Like we're engaged and I'm so happy. I love her to death. We've been through so much and we know each other really well. And she's just as hungry to make it work as I am. And she knows I get anxiety. And I think anybody listening who is with somebody who struggles with anxiety or like, and doesn't have to deal with that as much. If you're like in the opposite party of like, you know, having to deal with someone with anxiety, it's not so much that I think it can feel like you're getting attacked if someone's dumping their anxiety on you, especially if it's about you.
Mm.
And there's been times where I've talked to Maddie, like I brought up before, like I was feeling anxiety and talking to her about it. She felt personally attacked, you know? And I was like, it's not you. Like, this is just, this is me. And this is, I'll tell you this, like experience, this is just shows Maddie's tenacity and like her love for me and just, oh my gosh. Like a few days ago, we were talking about, like hurt and like what things hurt each other, like, the way things are said and that kind of thing. And I like had a really breakthrough moment, you know, talking to her. And it was kind of rough and it was emotional and, but at the end of it, I just came out on top and like had this big revelatory moment, that helps me. It didn't like totally get rid of my anxiety, but I just understood it way better.
Mm.
Maddie brought up this talk and it just was like, who are you? You know, how did I get so lucky to be with this person who has this perspective? She brought up this talk about, and maybe, I don't know, maybe someone listening knows it, and maybe you know it, but it's this talk about this guy who had this wonderfully trained dog. And he was so proud of this dog, and he went to go on like a hunting trip or something with his friends, and his dog just started acting so weird and really out of character.
I've heard this talk. Yeah.
Yeah?
I don't know who it's by, but I know. Yeah.
And the dog like just was acting weird, and they go home and he was just yelling at his dog, like, what are you doing? You made me look like a fool. And he realizes there's like blood on the belly of the dog, and there's like this big cut or something. And he felt so bad, immediately he changed. And Maddie just was like, that's you, Kyler, like this hurt dog. And like, obviously it kind of sounds like she's pitying me.
No, it's,
but it was just like, holy crap, you see me. Like you see the depths of me, cause I want to be the goodest boy ever. I want to be the,
it's all
a good boyfriend, or a good fiance.
It's almost like everything you've done in pursuit of finding that eternal relationship has been done in the pursuit of being good, of doing good.
Yeah.
And fear and pain have gotten in the way, and it leads you to maybe act in a way that you don't agree with, or different than who you actually are inside. Like this dog that's like freaking out,
Yeah.
but it's because it's in pain.
Yeah.
I think it takes, like you said, like one, a lot of perspective and awareness to realize that about yourself, but especially when someone that you're with can recognize that in you, that it's not, oh, there's something deep going inside of him, or when you're recognizing yourself, like there's something going on within me that's not me, that I'm wrestling with.
Yeah.
And it's not because I want to hurt or want to do bad things. Like, I mean, for me, I've noticed that in myself. It's with my anxiety and health problems, there's so much pain inside.
Yeah.
And then you do things that you know, not to justify, you know, if you say something mean, like you gotta own up to that, but it's not like the pursuit is that.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure something out, and in the, you know, you leave a trail of blood, you leave a trail of wreckage that was not intentional, but it's all in pursuit of something better because you're just trying to do good.
Yeah, dude, you said that beautifully. Yeah.
Well, because I know that road in different ways.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
In relationships that in a relationship that I had, it was the same thing. It was just a lot of pain that you know, the intention is never to hurt someone.
Yeah.
But you're hurting yourself, and then that leads us to, you know, there's that saying, hurt people.
Yeah.
And it's never like, oh, I'm diabolical, I want to do this. It's like, no, it's just like you're wrestling. Like, I love that word so much because it's this deep wrestle. It's this deep, I want to do good. I want to do good. For why am I so scared? Why do I feel these things?
Yeah.
And I think that's where letting Christ in takes work. But it's also like, he's like, I know. Let me help you do that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. And how have you like helped yourself like recognize like your intentions? Because that was something Matt and I talked about. Like, yeah, I promise like my intentions are not to hurt you. I'm just trying to like get to the bottom of how I feel. And, you know, it's hard for her to see that because sometimes I say things that hurt, and it's not, there's no like facetious part of me. It's in the, like you said, the desire to do good. So like, but like for you, how do you like try to embrace that?
Well, I think first of all, it takes perspective, either forced perspective, like I'm forcing myself to see it, or, you know, you ruin something, a relationship or an experience or a lot of hard that forces you to see it.
Yeah.
It's either you got to be willing to try to see it or you're forced to see it. And I think it's giving yourself grace through all of it, and allowing you to feel God's grace, which is, for some reason, he willingly gives, and it's hard for us to accept at times.
Yeah.
I think the pain and the fear does that. It pushes even Christ out.
Yeah.
Because Christ never leaves. And I think that's the thing, is we need to know that Christ is always there. It's us who leave him or push him out. And I think a lot of people push him out because they're so scared. That's what I've done. It's like, I'm so scared. I'm in so much pain that I'm trying. I'm just trying to figure it out. And I, you know, like I feel like this scared dog who's just hurt, and I don't know how to communicate exactly what I'm feeling, and I'm hurt.
Yeah.
And I think once people see you're hurt, it doesn't mean that they're not hurt either. You know, like that dog's owner probably got blood all over him, or maybe the dog bit him because he was trying to help, like once he figured it out. So it's like, there's good intentions on both sides, but people get hurt. And I think it's just giving grace and learning from that, I think, is the big thing. And trying to fix the harm you've done, because you can't change that.
No.
And but I think that we're supposed to experience these things, and you learn. And I'm sure over the course of your relationships, you've learned, like, oh, this is what I've been trying to pursue, and now I've found someone who I really want to pursue it with. What have I learned through all these things, and what have I learned about God and Christ through these things?
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's brutal work. Like, I don't ever want on this podcast to, you know, like, we're just talking, but I don't want it to ever seem like it's easy.
No, it isn't. It really isn't.
And everyone, I think the point of this podcast is to show people that, like, Christ is always there.
Yeah.
But nowhere in the book of scriptures. I mean, if you read about anyone in the scriptures, their lives are hard.
Yeah.
Especially when they choose to follow God. Like you said, on your mission, it's, you felt more pain because you were looking for God in a deeper way.
Yeah.
When you were looking for Christ, it got harder.
Yeah.
Like, You know, the Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years and it was hard.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was because they weren't willing to submit and see what God was giving to them. It's like when Moses had the staff and he
Yeah.
put it up and it's like, if you look, you'll be healed.
Yeah.
How many of them didn't look? Because it didn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
And I think something I've been discovering this year is not everything that God does, you know, God works in mysterious ways. But I think that means is it doesn't have to make sense to our mortal selves in the moment.
Yeah.
But looking back, you'll be like, oh, like you said, oh, I see the road now. I see what he was doing.
Yeah.
But it's just trusting, which is faith. And I think you going into this relationship with Maddie shows how much progress you've made and then just how much faith you're willing to put not only in Maddie, but yourself and then in Christ.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, as we wrap up here, 2 questions. One, what does going into a relationship with Maddie forever with faith look like?
It's a continuation of the way that we've like approached our relationship now. And oh, thank you.
The spider. Sorry.
Thank you. No, you're good. The spider's on me. Yeah, that's a great question because I think there's like a chain of events that have happened. A lot of things that, I mean, again, like looking back, I keep pointing to this portion of the table. It's like this is like my
your life map.
learned. Yeah, my life map. I'm here now. This is when we met. And when we met, like when we met for the first time, we talked for 3 hours. And it was like a party get together with some friends. And we sat at a table like this for 3 hours and didn't move and just talked. Like we connected so fast. And in my mind, I was like, yes, we're probably going to date, you know, like I just knew that. And even deeper, you know, it's hard to admit that in the moment, but I was like, we're probably going to get married. And it was just that.
Which I'm sure there had been a lot of feelings of fear about that.
Yeah.
Because of hurt.
Yeah. Because of
the hurt you felt. And, you know, I think anxiety projects hurt, right?
Yeah.
It projects like, oh, if I do this, it's going to hurt me. And it's like, well, you don't know that.
Yeah.
Although that's a story we've told ourselves.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that the pain you're feeling within the anxiety isn't real. That is real.
Yeah.
The hurt is yet to be real.
Yeah.
And I think even down the line, like in every relationship, there will be hurt.
Yeah.
But it's what are you going to do about that? I think that's what's powerful about the temples we go and we make covenants, right?
Yeah.
To be with this person, even when it's hard.
Yeah. Yep.
Whether it's you causing the hard or them or an external circumstance, there's going to be hard in a relationship.
Yeah. And so from that moment, and then to like a few weeks later when we had like our 3rd or 4th date, this is before we like made it official that we were going to start dating. I was having really bad anxiety and like wasn't sure. And we sat in the car after this date and it was telling her all this. And, you know, she just looked at me and was like, don't give up on me. And not in like a pleading way, but it was more absolute. She was more like, don't give up on me.
Don't let the anxiety win right now.
Yeah. Don't give up on us. You're just having anxiety. And I don't know how she had the wisdom to say that, but she just knew like, that's what I needed to hear. And like,
because in your past you had been like, well, if I give up, then maybe this feeling will go away. Maybe it's wrong.
And it
maybe
did. But like, I never figured out was on the other side of that, you know? But Maddie encouraged that curiosity in myself. Like, what if I didn't go? And
what if I let go and trust God?
Yes.
Actually let go.
Yeah. And in that moment, the anxiety dispelled and I was like, holy crap, this is an amazing relationship. It was just like, she proved that like, this was good. And I trust you. Like, you can trust me.
How hard was that for you to let go of that fear though? Or maybe not even let go of the fear, because I'm sure you're still scared. Walk into it.
Scary and hard, because normally I wouldn't like be so honest in especially a relationship that's developing. Like, I wouldn't be like, I'm feeling anxiety about us. And these are all the things I'm worried about that my anxiety is telling me.
Because you're trying to protect yourself.
Yeah. And I'm just going to like break up and like call it good and don't have to like hurt them because I'm so afraid of hurting somebody else because of my anxiety.
Your empathy.
Yeah. But in that moment, I was like, I know this could be so good. So like, I'm just going to be honest. And through that honesty, came her resilience to be like, don't give up on us. And that was like, it was brilliant.
Do you think there's a lot of times where in life where we're like that? We're on the precipice of something great and we're so scared. I saw a post on Instagram that was talking about, when Jesus calls to the apostles to, to like Simon and them who were fishing to throw their net on the other side of the boat and it's filled with fish.
Yeah.
And that miracle was literally on the other side of their boat,
Yeah.
like feet away. How often do you think that we don't allow ourselves to experience the miracle or the goodness because of the fear? Or like, what do you mean? We're already doing this. Like, why would we walk a few feet and do that? It's like, you're so close.
Yeah.
But you got to let go and let him.
It's a really good question. And I think it just depends on the circumstance. But I think to prevent those things from being inches away from diamonds or, just as simple of like throwing the net on the other side, to prevent those things from happening, I think just going to God with extreme honesty, and I think we're afraid to be extremely honest because, I think if you're afraid of being honest, you have anxiety or OCD or depression or whatever, it can be hard because we've never really had a space to say those things. And we feel like it's just going to ruin it all. But no, it's not the case. It's just like, if you want to burn the forest down with your words, if you feel like it's going to burn down the forest with your words, the Savior's going to turn that soil into a garden, man. Like, and that's
a beautiful analogy.
It's just, and it's pain and it is like dangerous. It feels dangerous and it is fearful, but
there's going to be hurt too.
Yeah.
But how much greater is the hurt by not, finding the diamonds or seeing the beauty that lies on the other side?
Yeah.
That's way worse.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, I think there was plenty of moments where I could have kept going with somebody and like, would have been married by now,
and it could have been beautiful.
It could have been, but I think if you feel like you've missed the boat, that's the adversary. And like, if you feel like you've missed out on opportunities because you like didn't jump on something, your life will continue. If you're looking for opportunities, they will come.
There's infinite opportunities from God.
Yeah, life
but you
is
got to
long.
let him in.
Eternity is long. Like there will be opportunities for you.
It's infinite.
It's infinite. And like, if you trust that God can't lie and he fulfills his promises, I would say be extremely honest and go head first into fear, whether that's with God or someone that you love.
It's beautiful, Dave. Well, the last question, I feel like in a lot of ways you've answered, but what do you feel like through it all you've learned most about yourself and most about Christ?
Oh, man.
Just to put a bow on it.
Through it all, I'm extremely excited to keep growing my relationship with the Savior. I feel like it's this tiny sapling, but like the sapling has been able to grow through lots of like experiences. It took a lot for that to grow. And I'm just excited to one, like continue that, but two, continue that with Maddie. Maddie and I have very similar spiritual goals, and just want to involve God and Christ in our relationship as much as we involve each other in our own, because you can have a one-sided relationship with somebody. You can like create a nice cultivated relationship, never telling him anything, but we're just in it
together.
Honesty, together. And I think that's like the parallel with through it all and continuing on through the next however many years that I'm alive here on earth, is that like extreme honesty, extreme ownership, and extreme commitment to like work through it.
In any relationship, but then with God too.
Yeah. If God is first and if Christ is first, he can help with all of your relationships. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, it's raining really loud, so I hope the audio is still good, but it is a miracle. It's been so dry in Utah and we need rain.
Yeah,
so this is, we can look at this as, it's a storm, but how much beauty will come from this storm?
Yeah. And when it's sunny out and you're having a good day, the sun makes rain.
Well, and it makes the green, the beautiful trees and all that. Like, you need both. And I think the storm is something I really want to lean into in this podcast. It's the tempest.
Yep.
Christ will calm the tempest with you if you let him in.
Yep.
But there's beauty in the storm, and there's so much learning within it. Dude, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening too.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is figuring out little by little, and this is stretching me in ways I didn't know were possible, and I'm just grateful that people like Kyler trust me enough and are
awesome.
vulnerable enough to come on and share their heart and their souls and their testimonies. But
Time.
we're gonna keep doing this
Yeah.
and finding more people. But love y'all. Love you, bro.
Love you too, man.
Peace.
Peace out.